Presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got
Another
it!
one! Another one! Huge hole! He's at the 30! He's gonna go! 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Galloway finds Rob Finnessy, who fires the three, and
He hit it!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard. It's Tuesday here at the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for day 2 of this week. We get another show into the books. Thank you so lot for joining us. We appreciate you as always. Looks like I think today is going to be a little bit warmer out there. Well, I see it's going to be a high of 95, I believe. Although, yes, 95, baby. Getting up there today. It's going to be the hottest day of the week. So I'm going to probably get a lot of work done today inside, without question. But the great thing is I've seen, I think I mentioned yesterday, these temperatures that are getting up. Although temperatures are up there, humidity not expected to be high. And I don't know what it's like down there in Evansville right now on the river. I know that matters a great deal. But, man, you take the humidity out of the equation, and it makes a gigantic difference. I played golf yesterday, and it was not bad at all. I couldn't believe it. But that's the difference in humidity. Hello, how's everybody doing? Welcome aboard. Chris jumping on from New Albany. I didn't know that's where you were. Forrest is jumping on from Georgia. Steve, not sure where you are. Let's write that down, Chris. I try to keep track of where everybody. I like to keep track of where as many people, especially the comment, where they are, just because it always amazes me. I think I've found so far like 20 up to 25 states, 10 different countries where people have following us, and we appreciate you guys. Don't forget, if you're listening or watching on YouTube, to please hit subscribe and the like button. It helps us immensely. How's everybody doing? Five Laps jumping on early, often and early. Steve's down in Evansville. All right, appreciate you. A lot of great peeps listening to us down in Evansville. We're on the ref there, WREF 97.7 ESPN station. Carry the Hoosiers there in Evansville. Wyatt says his team played JQ last night, beat his Bloomington North team, and tomorrow his cousin to Woodson's camp at Assembly Hall. That's right. That is going on this week. This is the last week of the day camp. What team is that, Wyatt? Are they at a team camp someplace? Larry Sims said good morning from steamy South Georgia. So everybody checking in there. Robert, you're talking 84% humidity where you are? Holy smokes. Are you serious? Oh my man, just jump back in the house. That's crazy. Robert, are you down in Evansville? Down on the river? That's what I'm going to assume. Tim says, oh yeah, Louisville lands the number 1 running back. Tim pointing out they had a big big to do for him out at Bowman Field, which is their second airport, with private planes and whatnot. But hey, that's whatever it takes today, man. You can do. But the fact that Louisville could land the number 1 running back is mind-boggling to me. I really, it is truly mind-boggling, unless there is some LIV, too many damn acronyms, NIL money involved there. Why the number one running back would go to Louisville is beyond me. I mean, you're competing in a weak conference in the ACC. There are no exciting games. There's not an exciting game in that conference hardly. Clemson. So, little head scratcher. Wyatt says Lagodi, high school. Cousin is younger. Woodson's individual camp. Okay. So cool. Getting a lot of, the camp going on yesterday, today, tomorrow, and it wraps up on Thursday. Just in time for him to come out to Jordan Hall's Never Lose Hoop golf outing, which is taking place this Thursday at the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Don't forget, if you can play, sign up. We're done taking sponsorships because the event is so close. The only thing you could do is to sign up and play still, or you can still donate. Always donate. But we appreciate everyone that has donated up to this point. I think I've mentioned them several times. I hope I don't forget anybody, but Forrest is a whole sponsor. Sam Joaquim's a whole sponsor. The Greater Evansville IU Alumni Association, Jennifer Landis is a sponsor, a whole sponsor. Let's see. Oh man, I don't want to forget anything and anybody. Pete is a whole sponsor. Pete Clausen. Man, if I forgot, just throw it up there. Going by using my memory is not always an easy thing to do. Michael says good morning from Evansville as well. Forrest said it's going to be 100 today, 105 tomorrow, 100 Wednesday, and plenty of humidity. You can have it, baby. Sorry, but nothing I want anything to do with. Adam Pena jumping on the Andy Moore Honda hotline. It's going to be 100 degrees with 60% in College Station, Texas. All right. Another new one. You're in College Station, Texas. You got to write that one down. How's it going down there in Texas? Liam McNeely, a recruit Indiana would sure like to have. Man, he's a nice player, but I don't see I don't see Indiana or anyone getting Liam McNeely out of Texas. Last time I saw him play, Bryce Drew and the entire Baylor staff was sitting in the end line up in Noblesville. So I don't think he's coming out of the Lone Star State, but there's plenty others in regards to recruiting that Indiana's got on the list. I mean, their offers list is long. Oh yeah. Adam says they're getting ready for Texas A&M and Notre Dame and College Station in the College World Series. Thanks for bringing that up. I was going to get to that later, but yeah. John. Hey, John Freed from Evansville as well. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. College World Series. And Notre Dame took their first loss to Oklahoma is who they lost to. I think it was 6-2 was the final score, I believe. And let's see. I wonder what the schedule is. Who plays today? That College World Series is just something fun to watch. It really is. I mean, Little League World Series is fun because it's cute and fun, but this is actually always pretty fun. Stanford eliminates Ole Miss to stay hot. So number 2, Stanford still in. Number 5, Texas A&M is now the highest ranked team remaining in the College World Series after number 2, Stanford, knocked off by number 14, Auburn yesterday afternoon. It was the first time the Cardinal, playing in their 18th College World Series, were eliminated in 2 games. Auburn closer Blake Burkhalter struck out 5 in the final 2 1/3 innings to nail down the victory in his 16th save. So Auburn, another SEC team, moves on. Ole Miss, another SEC team. They move on. They're 2-0 in Omaha. They destroyed Arkansas, another SEC school, 13-5. Man, Ole Miss 7-0 in the NCAA tournament. I bet my daughter's happy if she's keeping up with it. I doubt she is since she's not in school. They're just one win away from advancing to the championship series, Ole Miss. So there you go. Hunter Elliott receives a huge ovation as he leaves for Ole Miss. He was a freshman and pitched 6 1/3 innings. Think of that. Kid was in high school last year. And now he's pitching in the College World Series and not just doing it, but doing it well. So, College World Series continues today. What is today's schedule? Not seeing what that is. Oh, here we go. Tuesday's games. That's right. Notre Dame at Texas A&M today at 2 p.m., baby, on ESPN. Tonight, Auburn and Arkansas go back at it. Two SEC teams. But look at that. Of the 4 teams there, 3 of them are SEC teams. It just it stinks, but it just is what it is because of climate. But Notre Dame, I mean, you got to give it to them to get this far. It's crazy because they are such a you don't get much northern than that. They're in northern Indiana, damn near in Michigan. So Notre Dame has one more game that they can afford to lose as they'll take on the Aggies today. 2:00 on ESPN. So look forward to doing that, to watching that. Tim says, Isaiah Thomas said if NIL was around when he played, he would have stayed all 4 years. Loved Coach Knight in college, but his family needed the money badly. Well, that's true. But I'm telling you, and he said, Isaiah says if he didn't play basketball, he would have been a college professor because he loves kids and loves to teach. Great. I wonder, though, I truly wonder, for Indiana players, what it would have been like to go through NIL if Bob Knight was the coach. I think that the Hoosiers for Good that has been set up, I don't know that happens if Bob Knight is the coach. I think that even though the rule changed, I think his personal principles, knowing how he was, would not change. And he would not be about that. He would still think that he can beat you with whomever he could get. And I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that? But I don't think that Bob Knight would have acclimated well to NIL, and I think it would have paid a price in recruiting. That's just my thought. But oh yeah, Tim's sponsoring as well. I can't forget Tim Tebow's also a host sponsor. I got to make sure I got that one in. Let's see. But yeah, I just don't think that Bob Knight would have. He was so anti all that stuff. Just because they changed the rule all of a sudden, he's not going to change how he is. And what his beliefs were and his belief system, man, oh man. But it would have been interesting. But that's certainly not the case now. I promise you, Indiana is rolling in recruiting and are going to be a force going forward next season. This should be a good year, but which will only in turn and enhance the recruiting at Indiana, but also the experience that these guys are having, especially the ones from outside of state, from Montverde Academy. They can say, oh my God, dude, it's great there. You know, they take care of you. It's this, it's that. That's the advertising that the basketball program wants to have, because that stuff travels, and it will travel. It's time for me to take a break. I think Mike DeCourcy coming up next with us on the program today. Also looking, I think Lance Stemler. Is that right? Do I have the right person that I booked?
Yes, sir.
Lance Stemler going to join us. Former Indiana player, part of the Providence basketball staff that won a state title. So looking forward to talking to him about that as well. But stay tuned. We got plenty more coming up, brought to you by our good friends at Southern Stone Restaurant, trying our roots in Southern fare, created with the Southern charm. You'll love it. Located on Patterson and Rogers in Bloomington, all a part of the WOW Club, don't forget. Totally free app to sign up for. Start earning WOW rewards today. WOW Club members earn exclusive discounts, dining dollars to spend, and more sent directly to your mobile phone when you sign up for the WOW Club. You immediately start earning discounts, free food, and even VIP invites to special events like this golf outing this week. That's something that you could have been invited to, and things like that. Just go to your Apple App Store or Google Play Store and sign up for the WOW Club. It is totally free, and they are a proud sponsor of Value Athletics. Remember to support those who support you, and they support us and help bring you this content and cover Indiana for you. So Jeff Gregory, also from Evansville, he thinks Knight would have squawked about it, but he would have adjusted, just like he adjusted with the other rule changes that he hated. It would have had a clean look, though. Yeah, he hated the three-point line, but he sure put that to use, didn't he? Ha! We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington or I like knowing where everybody's from. A lot of Evansville peeps.
I don't think I've ever actually been to Evansville, believe it or not.
Well, I do believe it, but
It's just not a far place. It's something that I'm surprised I haven't been to.
well, you can go down there for the regatta.
What's the regatta? Tebow says he's moving to Lanesville. Excuse me.
Really? Nice little community.
Morning, Mike.
Morning, John. How are you?
I am doing well.
Hi, Mike. How are you today, sir?
Good, Jim. What's going on?
Just enjoying the weather, as hard as that is to believe. But yesterday was not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Right. I agree.
But it's because I checked the humidity this week, and the humidity is not going to be up. And I'm like, I grew up in southern Indiana down by the river. Believe me, all I do is check humidity. Screw the temperature. All I want to know is the humidity is going to be like.
Yeah.
And it makes all the difference in the world. I'm like, going 90 degrees and 40% humidity is candy land to me, man. That's easy. I remember my first or my last TV job. I was out in Washington State, but I was on the east side of the state. And there's a mountain range that runs through the middle of Washington. So it is bone dry on the east side of Washington, opposite of Seattle. You know, you think of the rain and all that. And I was on the eastern side of Washington, and the Tri-Cities where I was. But there was like not a stick of green. They had hills and nothing. And I couldn't believe it was all brown. But I remember the first time I was playing golf, I had probably like maybe a 12 or 15 foot putt. And I go to get it down there. And I bet that thing went like 80 feet because it was, there was no humidity. And I had never even been in an area like that. And it was like putting on a glass countertop. Shoo! I was like, whoa, what's that? So, yeah, it was crazy. Brooks Koepka to the LIV, man. Did you see that?
I did, yes. I love that people expect pro golfers to have like ethics, you know. That's like, you know, that's
Why?
like certain.
Yeah, they're not
15.
political pawns. I'm like, what are they?
Here we go. On the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Courtroom Sports Grill in Bedford. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back on this Tuesday. Indiana Sports Beat Radio, of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Brought to you by our good friends at the Courtroom Sports Grill down in Bloomington, all a part of the WOW Club. Joined now by Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News, senior writer. How are you, sir?
I am well, Jim. How are you?
Good. And like I said, I was enjoying this weather. It's going to be warm today, but it's if it's going to be 90 degrees and 40% humidity, I can handle that. Yesterday I went out and played golf, and it wasn't bad at all. So I'm like, you can get out and do some stuff. So we can't complain about the heat if it's summertime, and especially when you got low humidity. I'll take it, baby.
Yeah, I there are people who will debate on Twitter. It's a good debate, like heat versus cold. You know, which you I am. Give me the heat every day of the week.
All day, baby.
I cannot stand being cold, and you know I like to change the seasons, but the season that I prefer the least is the cold. Although it's basketball season, so there's a nice trade-off there. Jim Boeheim once told me, and I don't know that I necessarily agree with his assessment, but he once told me about Syracuse. The reason he loved it there was that it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful area 5 months of the year or 6 months of the year, and the rest of the year it's basketball season. So he's good. Now, I don't necessarily know that I agree with that assessment of Syracuse. Maybe where he lives, that applies. But I will take the heat over ice cold any day.
You and me both, and living in Indianapolis, which I don't know, is Indianapolis considered a northern city?
I think so. Yeah.
I would. But I grew up in southern Indiana, so even though it's in the same state, not that far, I didn't consider growing up in a north. I was like pretty much dead center there. And I remember just being in school when I was at IU. God, I remember it being cold. I'm like, geez. and I'm only talking an hour and a half, maybe north, and I'm like, holy crap. And yeah, it was just, no, I cannot stand being cold. I hate it. I would never. A friend of mine I went to school with here, Pete, he moved to Minneapolis. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Who would live in Minneapolis on purpose? I had a job. I had a TV sports anchor job in Wausau, Wisconsin once, and I couldn't wait to get out of there as quickly as possible. And it was in the summer. And so, but what's new with you, man? What's happening?
Well, I've been turning out some NBA draft pieces, including one today that just launched this morning that has state of Indiana implications, maybe not IU implications, but it's about the folly of passing on Jaden Ivey. If you look at it, Jim, the guys who fit Jaden Ivey's profile athletically, dynamically, it's a very, very short list. And you can't find anybody on it that didn't become an all-star. And if you're drafting in the NBA at the top of the draft, you're looking for all-stars. That's what you're hoping to get. I mean, you don't necessarily think, oh, this guy's going to be a Hall of Famer. You're not looking for role players at the top of the draft. You're looking for all-stars. And that's, you look at it, you go back to Russell Westbrook, who he resembles greatly, became a 9-time All-NBA guy. Ja Morant, who is the most recent example of that sort of dynamism, a lot of similarity there. you're talking about a guy who's been in an all-star game, only been in the league 3 years, and got his team to the second round of the playoffs in his third year. Derrick Rose was MVP of the league. A little bit different because he's physically stronger and maybe more point guard oriented, but still that next level athleticism, that A++. Dwayne Wade, those guys all become stars. You can't find the guy who resembles Ivy in terms of college career and development and athletic profile that didn't become a star. And it's interesting to watch. You've got Jabari Smith. You've got Chet Holmgren, and you've got Paolo Banchero, and everybody's saying on the mock drafts they're going to go 1, 2, 3, and they're all terrific talents. And I'm not arguing against any of them, although I can find a flaw in all of them, and I can find some flaws in Jaden as well. The one who feels like the safest pick to me is the one that's being shoved to the side, and that's Jaden.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you now. And when you look at it, not only do they become stars, but like Ja Morant, the franchise, they change the franchise. They give them hope in life, and these are teams that haven't had that for a while, some of them. So, and that's what the draft is about. It's supposed to turn, get talent on teams that don't have that much. So it would be interesting to see will anyone dare take him in front of one of these other, what I call the big three.
Yeah. And that's the interesting thing, Jim. I mean, I've seen Fran Fraschilla starting to suggest that. He's done some interviews lately, and Fran's a good friend of mine. I just didn't happen to interview him for this article, although he certainly would have buttressed my point. He said he wouldn't be surprised to see him go off the board at number 2. There seems to be a building consensus that Jabari Smith will go 1 overall. And I understand it. I get it. He is a great shooter, and he's a big guy. So that's a hard combination to beat. I can make the case for and against all 4 players that we're talking about. I can make the case for and against. And the case against Jabari Smith for me would be that little bit of that I don't know exactly what I would call it, but that idea of dominance. I mean, he had some games where he was a dominant force, but a guy who's going to be the 1 overall pick, like, shouldn't he be doing that all the time? I brought that up with Bruce Pearl when I was writing an article back in January, early February. And I mentioned it to him, why isn't that there all the time? And he said to me that if you look at the big games, the really big games, he was always there for those. Alabama on the road, Kentucky, etc. And that all held up until he completely disappeared in the NCAA tournament. It didn't hold up so well when they played Miami. So I'm not sure. Like I said, I can make a case for him, and I can make a case against him. For him, he is a beautiful shooter, and he can get his shot off in tight space. And so that's a real plus. If you guard him tight, he can still get it off. And that's a real plus. And he is 6'10", 6'11", and he blocks shots, and he's a pretty, he's probably a A to A- athlete. So there's a lot to like about him. But we just had a comment pop up on the screen that's trying to separate Ja Morant from Jaden Ivey athletically. I'm sorry, that's not there. There's that separation. You can maybe separate them in terms of how you like the skill set. It's that sort of thing. You might think that Morant is more of a point guard, which he is. Coming out, he had a little bit more experience and a little bit more command, so I can get with that. But in terms of dynamism, no, there's no difference there. Ja Morant, Jaden Ivey, I mean, you run them through tests, and they're going to look exactly the same.
Then that leaves us with the Pacers, who are just outside of that, while everybody else is making their decision on who they're, and I don't want to call it the leftovers because you're getting a very high pick, but they get to wait to see who does what. And of course, there's no way that, I shouldn't say no way, but generally there's no way that Banchero and Smith, Holmgren and Ivy are going to be gone. But you look at different ones, and I'm looking at this is CBS. They've got Shaden Sharp at number 3, and then Benedict Mathurin at number 4. So leaving Chet Holmgren at 5.
Who has that?
This is CBS. I'm looking at CBS.
There has to be a name on it because that's
Matt Norlander.
Oh, that is a Matt's a good guy. That's a strange one.
I've not seen one like this. That's why I'm like, wait a minute. I have not seen one like this at all. And I'm like, wow, that's different.
In my article, I pointed out that there was I believe it was from The Athletic, that actually had Jaden falling to 9, which just blew me away. For the Pacers, my concern is this. It's okay if you don't get one of the top 4. But if you can't get Keegan Murray at 6, I think at that point you're really getting punished. If the first 5 go and Keegan Murray is sitting there, I think it's fine. I love Keegan Murray as a Pacer. He's not the most dynamic guy, but he is going to score 20 points a game. I would bet he has multiple seasons as a pro in which he averages 20 points a game or more. That's my feeling about him. And I think if you can get that at number 6, you've gotten yourself a good player. But I have seen Murray increasingly going from the mock drafts 4 or 5. And that leaves you at number 6 with the idea, okay, what do you do now? If you haven't made a trade, do you take Shaden Sharp, and when you really don't know much about him other than what he looks like, in an empty gym? Who else is out there for you at that point? I'm not saying the guys who are there are not capable players or good prospects, but I'm saying that if Murray is off the board and the other 4 are off the board, at that point you're starting to, you're drafting guys who have bigger holes. I mean, AJ Griffin, the best shooter in the draft, the best shooter in the last several years of the draft. But, what else does he do? What else does he give you? He didn't give Duke much other than that. And that's a concern. Like I mentioned, my sincere concern with Shaden Sharp, didn't compete. I mean, he walked away from every competition that was available to him. Greg Doyle did a wonderful column in the Indianapolis Star this morning, and told me something I did not know. I mean, I knew about what Sharp had done at Kentucky, or more accurately, what he had not done at Kentucky and what he declined to do at Kentucky. But I didn't realize that he'd also declined a shot to play in the U19s for Canada last summer. I mean, there's like no downside at all to that. You haven't played anybody, and here's a chance to play internationally. I can't remember where the games were, where he would have gotten to travel. He had gotten to travel internationally, go somewhere cool, hang out with people like Caleb Houston and try to build up his brand, and also to play for his country. And he didn't even do that. I mean, I just can't take that guy. I don't care if he came into my gym and he looked like Michael Jordan. I can't take a guy who doesn't want to play.
Or won't. Was there any reason ever given? Why didn't he play at Kentucky?
There was. And Kyle Tucker from The Athletic did a nice job reporting on this. It was his, I don't know what you call him, handler, whatever you want to call him. The guy who had been his AAU coach or whatever, wouldn't clear him to play, wouldn't allow him to play. The family wanted him to play. And the handler guy wouldn't let him go. And first of all, at some point, I'm 18 years old. I can make the decision about whether I want to play basketball on my own. I don't need to have somebody tell me that. I mean, I can see, okay, we don't want you to go to this camp. We don't want you to go play in this AAU tournament because it'll wear you out or whatever. But my goodness, to just say you're not going to play intercollegiate basketball and you're not going to play for your country and all the rest of that. I mean, that's just ridiculous. That's a terrible approach to development and to just wanting to be a competitor. So I think we're seeing teams starting to say, hey, does this guy want to even play? Does this guy want to play basketball? It's not just the media that's asking that question. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that somebody and maybe even the Pacers says there's so much ability there that I can't pass on the chance to have that blossom under our watch. That's very possible. And if you're at 6, the opportunity cost of taking someone like who's going to be outstanding is starting to diminish at that point. So I can understand if the Pacers say, I have to take the chance on this young man because what he shows from an athletic profile, what he shows from a skill profile, it's too much to pass up. But I just, if it's my team, I'm just saying I want somebody who wants to play. And I have seen absolutely zero evidence that this young man wants to play.
I agree. And this mock draft, man, it's definitely a different one, which I guess it's better than just being the same as everybody else. But he's got Holmgren down to number 5. Like I said, Shaden Sharp at number 3, Mathurin at number 4. Holmgren at number 5. He's got Ivy available for the Pacers at number 6. Then AJ Griffith, and he's got Murray all the way down to 12. So just being different, I guess.
If Jaden Ivey is available to the Pacers at 6, that's a bonanza. I mean, I don't know that that's going to happen. I doubt that that's going to happen. But that would be a wonderful thing for the Pacers. It creates some position questions because you brought in Halliburton in the trade last year, and you've gotten that was a nice addition for them. I didn't like losing Domantas Sabonis. I really like him as a player, but I understand the appeal of Halliburton. So you've got that. So do you pass on Ivy or pass up an opportunity to get Ivy because of that? I don't know what the Pacers' approach would be if they were that lucky. But one of our commenters really likes Johnny Davis. I like him too a lot. I don't know that I like him at 6 as much as I like him at 9 or 10 because his shooting remains a question for me. And Johnny's got to be a great shooter to be a great player. But if I'm at 7, 8, 9 and he's there, I'm thrilled. I just don't know. I know that, numbers wise, it doesn't seem like that big a difference, but there is that chance that shot never completely comes around. And at that point, you've just got a good role player on your hands.
We've got to take a quick break. Great Mike DeCourcy, senior writer for the Sporting News, is with us. We'll be back with lots more Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends from the Wow Club. Make sure you sign up. Go to your Apple App Store, Google Play Store. Start earning dining dollars today. Back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
The sun is out. Oh man, what's your week going to be like, Mike?
Well, after today, probably pretty light. Not a lot going on.
That is what everybody has said, almost to a word. which is great finally, because I thought that was going to happen like a month ago, and the not much going on thing. And it didn't yet, but so I'm very grateful for not much going on right now.
Oh,
slowing down.
Absolutely. Everybody needs a break now. And then I had a nice vacation last week. That was good.
Where'd you go, if you don't mind me asking?
Went to the Bahamas. Went to Atlantis.
I got friends that just left for the Bahamas like at 3 a.m. this morning.
I saw I saw a guy down there who looked just like you, and I was
sorry. Poor guy.
I was like, sort of like had to stop myself. Wait, no, that can't be Jim. He's back. He's back home doing the show.
You should have taken a picture. Hey, that poor guy. Oh man. But he's living the life. He's in the Bahamas, so I got to give him that.
Absolutely.
Gotta give it. Yeah, I need to. I went to Florida a couple weeks ago, but
yeah,
I still did the show. So I'm like, I can't take off and just take
Jim
off.
doesn't know how to vacation, Mike.
I see.
I want to. I really want to. Just afraid. But I'm grateful to have someone like John because the show is in quite capable hands. It's probably, I'm afraid if I leave, they won't mind that I'm gone and don't want me back.
Well, I've got like 40 years of vacations that says they still take you back, man. So.
Well, there's that. Plus, it's my show, I guess. So I got that going for me.
You do. You do. I don't think the boss is going to fire you for taking a week off.
Oh, man. Holy smokes. Financing for well-qualified buyers on all 2017 through 2021 Honda certified pre-owned Accords, Civics, CRVs, HRVs, and Pilots. See dealer for financing deals. Andy Moore Honda, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indy Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back on this Tuesday. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Brought to you by our good friends at Remax Realty. If you're in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area, make sure you reach out to Cheryl Sizemore and her 2 decades of experience. It could be the difference between you getting the home you want and not. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com, or if you're in Southern Indiana, you can reach out to Barbara Pop Real Estate Services and Matt Lincoln. Matt at BarbaraPop.com. Mike DeCourcy, senior writer from the Sporting News, with us. We were talking earlier about the potentials of the NBA draft. He's got a piece out right now, going over, laying all out the scenarios, and we've got it all figured out on who's going to go where. So we got that settled already. Just go back and listen if you want to know what's going to happen Thursday night. Live Golf versus the PGA, Mike, is becoming, it's ongoing now. We've got Brooks Koepka, who I don't know that I was surprised by that because of the Bryson DeChambeau thing. If they paid him more to get him because of the Bryson DeChambeau thing, because they need something, because what they have right now is not much, because we saw in the U.S. Open, the live golfers didn't do much squat. Only 4 of them made the cut. So they didn't have a very good showing, and that is not giving them a great product to put out there. So they need, I don't know, is it that rivalry they're trying to get or whatever, but they continue to battle the PGA.
Well, Jim, I don't know if we've talked about this before. I think I know I've mentioned this before. Look at how long it took IndyCar to get itself back to prominence. I mean, like, we're just talking about like in the last year.
Yeah,
or so,
the split
where it's gotten back to where it is at a significant place in the American sporting scene. A comfortable place. It's not what it was in 1972 or whatever, but in 1972, we all had 3 channels plus public TV.
Yes, yep.
And you only had a chance to watch so many sporting events. So the Indy 500 was a bigger deal then because there weren't very many big deals available to you to watch on television. So we're not going to get back to that. but to where it has a significant place, a prominent place, a lucrative place on the American sporting scene, we're really just talking about the last year or two that it's gotten to that nice spot after the split nearly destroyed the sport. And PGA Tour golfers are the ones who are taking the money, are absolutely looking at, they're looking at what has built them to where they are. And they're having this, oh, it's been so hard and we don't like this person. And, gosh, the ruling on my ball wasn't exactly what I wanted. So, gosh, I can't wait to go play somewhere else. Sergio Garcia with that one. I'm not even talking about the morality of playing, for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's money or whatever. That's for political analysts. But the sport itself is going to suffer for this long term, and the split is going to damage the sport in the short term as well. This fight is not helping it. It's getting it some publicity, but once the publicity dies down, from the initial shock of this separation, it becomes a damaged product on both sides. And the IndyCar split, you had two lesser series operating instead of one great series. And that's what you're going to have now is two lesser series. And when you're, especially in a sport like golf, where you're attaching yourself, if you're watching the sport, you're attaching yourself to a golfer either on a weekly or or on a periodic basis. I like Tiger Woods because why? I don't know. Maybe I like the way he plays, or I like Phil Mickelson because he's not Tiger Woods. There's a lot of that out there from the previous 2 decades. But there's no natural association. Maybe somebody who grew up in your hometown, if you're fortunate, but there's no natural association. You don't grow up let's say a Brooks Koepka fan because you happen to grow up in Pittsburgh. You grow up a Steelers fan because everybody around you likes the Steelers, or here in Indy, everybody around you likes the Colts. So you become a Colts fan, and there's a natural association there. Golf doesn't have that. So if you're not building a brand and a personal brand that's built on the tradition of the tour, what do you have? I mean, there's no natural affiliation there. And so dissociating yourself from that natural affiliation, from the structure that had built the brand, that had built how many PGA Tour events have you won is a barometer of success. It says something about who you are as an athlete. If that's gone, what are you building it on? Well, you're not building it on anything. The Live Golf Tour doesn't have any history. It just has money. So yeah, I mean, if you don't care about what built you into something that somebody would want to pursue, if you have no loyalty at all to anything but yourself, you're going to take the money because it's easy money. But it's going to damage the sport for the people who follow you. I'm not surprised at all. I mean, having been around professional golfers, I mean, they are the most self-interested athletes by eons of anybody I've been around. Hockey, NFL, baseball, NBA. Golfers are on another planet in terms of self-interest. So I'm not surprised that they're taking easy money. But I am surprised when someone like Koepka, who has been built because there's a PGA Tour to build him, I'm surprised that he would dissociate himself and not look at, okay, if it weren't for the PGA Tour, I would be nobody. I'd be a club pro somewhere at some country club. And instead, I'm being offered all this money by this rival tour, but I wouldn't be offered that if it weren't for the PGA Tour. You'd think at some point there would be someone who would stand up, or there would be more who would stand up and say that. I know that we have seen some, but a lot of big names are taking the easy way out and not looking at why they are where they are.
Yeah, and I wonder, will they come to some kind of, will the PGA just try to hold firm or with roughly 48 available weekends of golf, will they not just try to say, all right, if the LIV, which I hate the name LIV, there's too many acronyms now. NIL, LIV, NCAA.
What does it stand for? I don't even know.
It's 54. It's the Roman numeral 54 for 54 holes. So it's not LIV. So that makes it worse. It's the Roman numerals.
Let me tell you, from a branding standpoint, that's some weak stuff, man. That is bad.
It's dumb. That's what I've said. I go, wait a minute, you can't call it the Live because these are Roman numerals. They're not letters. So, but that's what everybody calls it. Anyway, you would think that they've all the money that they have that they're spending, that they could spend a little bit on marketing, because obviously they didn't spend much there. But I wonder, will the PGA finally say, okay, we've got to find some kind of common ground here and give them, say, if you only do 10 events a year.
That's a big chunk of who you are, Jim.
Well, I'm just saying, you've got like 48, roughly 48 weekends that you could have a golf event. I'm just trying to find they're not going to go away. And like you said, it's a diluted, when you dilute the product as IndyCar, and when they had that split, allegiances are diluted, everything gets split, and you just, nothing is as whole. And I agree with you.
I think the PGA Tour has to stand its ground and fight this fight. I don't think they have any choice. I don't think accommodation is the answer to this. I think they have to fight the fight. Now they can try to improve, some of their purses or whatever. They've done really well by the golfers that they do have. But I think they have to stand the ground. And I think the key elements in this are the Masters and the U.S. Open. And they can't the U.S. Open can't shut its doors to the live golf players, but they can say, hey, you know what, man, you're going to have to go through the qualifying process. So, get on down to Youghiogheny Country Club and start playing from the very bottom of the heap. And we'll, and after you've played like 3 weekends of that, and if you do well enough, then you're in. I think they're going to have to make them do that. I think that's the way that the PGA Tour survives. And I think they have to make it clear to Augusta and to the USGA that look, PGA Tour has been good to those organizations as well. If it's not for the PGA Tour, the guys who are coming into, remember the Live Golf Tour is taking players who are established entities. It is not, they have lots of guys that are nobodies, but they are not going to establish stars. They're taking players who are established entities and giving them a lot of money. Well, where did those entities become established? They became established on the PGA Tour for almost without exception. So they have to make it clear to Augusta and make it clear to the USGA that we are the reason for your success as well as for the player's success. So, and if we get damaged, you get damaged. That's something that they have to make clear.
Yeah, because it's just going to be a mess until they get it straightened out. But oh well. But along the way, there are people making a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. How much have they handed out? $1 billion by now?
Yeah, I mean, it's to them. It's to the Saudi kingdom. It's nothing. I mean, they have
monopoly money.
Yeah, it is. And so there are lots of golfers that are taking advantage of that. But again, the ones who, and I get it with some of the guys who really aren't players. It's like going to the 12th guy on the Pacers bench and offering him $100 million. I mean, he's never, that player is never going to be a superstar. And you're offering to change his life. Okay, I get why that player does it. But the player at the top end of the scale who has been made a star by the PGA Tour, who then, and I mean, somebody like Mickelson, who has earned so much money. Now I realize he hasn't been made the wisest choices in his life. So I understand why there might be a need for money, but that's, it again, Mickelson, if it's not for that, for the existence of the PGA Tour, what would he be doing with his life? Well, I can tell you, he wouldn't have the house he has. He wouldn't have the cars he has, et cetera, et cetera. He wouldn't have the endorsements that he has. PGA Tour made him. And for him to turn his back on the PGA Tour in the way that he has, I can't respect that at all. I can't. That's that is, again, I'm not surprised that golfers are self-interested, because it's all I've ever observed for the most part from them in their behavior when I've covered golf. But I do think it's amazing to see how quickly they turned on an enterprise that made them all very wealthy men.
Absolutely did. Mike, what's coming up next for you? You got the piece out right now on the draft, and the draft coming up Thursday. So I assume a lot of things are going to be surrounding that.
Yeah, there'll be another piece coming out probably tomorrow about the search for, why is it that teams at the back of the draft try to hit home runs instead of trying to hit singles, so to speak. I mean, Grant Williams, NBA Finals, Jalen Brunson, conference finals. How do those guys get missed by NBA teams that are drafting in the second half of the first round? And how often that's a mistake to pass on guys like that? And I mean, not every All-American player becomes a college superstar. I mean, excuse me, an NBA role player star, like those guys have. But very few guys who are unaccomplished as collegians that are taken in the later half of the first round become significant role players, even in the NBA, especially on good teams. So it goes into that and explains the history of that a little bit. Those two guys are not the only examples, but they're the ones that come very quickly to mind. I mean, and I should mention Draymond Green, 4-time NBA champion Draymond Green, now probably Hall of Fame bound, second round pick. Those kind of guys, missing on them is a mistake.
Yeah, and for everybody who thinks that he is just a dirty, dirty player, a big part of that is gamesmanship. Because if you saw after the game, after the series of the night, they're all hugging and they're all buddies. That's competition, man. These guys just go at it. When it's done, they're done with it most of the time. But Mike, I cannot thank you enough as always, man. It is always a blast. I hope you get to get out and enjoy the weather after today. It'll be okay, so you can get out there, but get out and enjoy that. But appreciate you so much.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, John. Take care.
Make sure you give Mike a follow at the Sporting News. Be a subscriber. Keep that content alive. Brought to you by our good friends at Remax Realty. If you're in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore and her 2 decades of experience. It could be the difference between you getting the home you want and not. Or if you're looking for a home in the southern Indiana area, Barbara Pop Real Estate Services has been around for a long time, and they've got you covered. Matt Lincoln, you can get in touch with Matt at barbarapop.com there. We've got lots more coming up. Lance Stemler, part of the Providence High School staff now, who won a state championship this year. He's going to join us a little bit later, but we'll be back with more Indiana Sports Beat right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Andy Moore Honda.
All right. Excuse me.
Shoot, the Pacers could have drafted Larry Bird.
Really?
But
wow.
they would have had to do what Boston did and wait a year for him to come out. See, that's what a lot of people don't remember, especially young. Boston drafted him in 1978. He didn't come out until 1979. Doesn't happen today.
Yeah, that's interesting. Were you not allowed to, or are you just not allowed to do that anymore? Or how does that work?
he was eligible for the draft. I don't understand because you have to enter the draft now. I don't know if then you had to enter the draft. I'm sure it was different. A player who had finished his 4-year college eligibility was eligible for selection. If a player left college early, he would not be eligible for election until his college class graduated. Before the draft, 5 college underclassmen were declared eligible for selection under the hardship rule. How did the 1979 draft work? All right. In this draft, the 22 NBA teams took turns selecting yada yada players and eligible, including it as it went 10 rounds. You're not telling me anything. Magic Johnson was selected first in 79. The year after Larry Bird was drafted. I guess because his initial class would have graduated because he left IU and had a year in between, that he was eligible to be drafted. Man, how about this draft? 1979, Magic Johnson, David Greenwood, I never heard of, Bill Cartwright, Greg Kelser, Sidney Moncrief, Vinny, the Microwave Johnson.
The microwave. All right, here we go.
Housing market. Reach out to Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Advanced Realty at Cheryl@IndyHomePros.com or 317-298-0961. Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl@IndyHomePros.com.
This segment is brought to you by Feast Market and Cellar. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back on this Tuesday, Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Brought to you by our good friends at Feast Market and Cellar. Of course, all part of the WOW Club. Feast Market and Cellar, located next door to Southern Stone Restaurant on Patterson and Rogers, offers an extensive wine selection with a sommelier on staff. Means they take their pairings seriously. They also provide a wide variety of cheeses, gourmet sandwiches, entrees, coffee bar, bread, and pastries, all that are mouth-watering. Incredible stuff. Stop in there. Again, all part of the WOW Club. Make sure you sign up, Apple App Store or Google Play Store. It helps us tremendously. Doesn't cost you a thing. They are a IU athletic sponsor, and they sponsor us. So support those who support those who you like. Let's see. Saw a comment. Tim says Green wore a shirt during the parade that said Boston sucks. Well, you know what? That's what they've been. That stuff's been going on for years, man. Love it. Actually, I love that. Jacob says, like the Pacers passing on OG for the kid from UCLA, I was talking about in the break. The Pacers could have, in 1978, they could have drafted Larry Bird. I've got the 1978 draft pulled up right now. Number 1, Michael Thompson, Phil Ford, Rick Roby, Michael Ray Richardson. Wow, what are the top 4? Remember all of those. Michael Ray Richardson from Montana, of all places. Purvis Short from Jackson State. I don't remember him. And then some guy from Indiana State University, Larry Joe Bird, at number 6 to the Boston Celtics. Although he would still play another year of college basketball. They took the risk and drafted him. Indiana had the number 3 pick. They took Rick Roby out of Kentucky. They could have taken Larry Bird from Indiana State. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What a difference that would have made. Just saying. What a great draft that was. Ron Brewer, Freeman Williams, Reggie Theus, Butch Lee, James Hardy, Jack Goose Gibbons, Dave Corzine. It's fun going back and looking at that stuff. The old days. Yeah, that would never happen today. Drafting. Well, hell, they would come out if they got drafted. They wouldn't wait. But I think that must have been Larry's promise to his mom after she was quite upset when he left Indiana. Didn't talk to him for like 5 months, he said. That's one of my favorite stories. Very fun. Tim asking I just lost it. If I have Jim, you have a Floyd Central grad, Elizabeth Haller won Miss Indiana for 2022, formerly Miss Harvard's homecoming queen. Congratulations, Miss Indiana, Elizabeth Halal from Floyd Central. That's awesome. Very cool. Verdell the fireman, I don't know. I haven't talked to him. He's been busy being Verdell, I think. Is it something about Brad asking? Is it something about owning the rights to the player if you draft them until the next draft? Yeah, they had him. They had those rights, but he could have entered that next year's draft if he had wanted to. If he was not happy with who had drafted him, he could have just stayed in school and re-entered the draft. But he was fine with going to Boston, and that was his plan. And the fact that they drafted him and waited on him made him happy. They also made him the highest paid rookie in sports ever at that time with a $3 million contract. So Larry didn't have a hardship. Larry had a hardship. Larry Bird grew up stinking poor in French Lick without a father. His father committed suicide. Larry Bird was the epitome of having a hardship, but he wasn't taking that route, I don't think. Pretty sure his mom would have been not happy at all with him had he left early. But we'll find out Thursday. This year's draft happens, and we'll see who does what and who goes where, what the Pacers end up with as they have the 6th pick this year, and how it plays out. We'll find out. I'm looking forward to talking to Lance. Haven't talked to him in a bit. He is on the Providence High School staff down in Southern Indiana, down in Clarksville there. They won a state title this past season, basketball. So congratulations to them. And I have to shout out to Mike Pegram. Saw yesterday Mike is retiring from Pigs. So, man, great. I wish I could retire. I can tell you that. I'm jealous of him. I promise you I wish I could retire. But congratulations to him. That's a great gig if you can get it. That retirement thing, man. Whew, what a great gig if you can get it. I don't see that in my future anytime soon, unfortunately. But we'll see. Indiana gets an official visit from an offensive lineman, Ty Ray, for 2023. They've hosted multiple official visits over the weekend, including Ty Ray. He's a 6'6" Apopka, Florida lineman who holds offers from Indiana, Pitt, South Florida, Charlotte, Appalachian State, Florida Atlantic, Troy, Tulane, and others. He came on his visit with high expectations, but was pleasantly surprised to see the visit was up to his expectations. He's a 6'6", 280-pound offensive tackle. Big boy. So Indiana recruiting on the football side of things. That's not alone. Also, another offensive lineman, Austin Barrett, visited Indiana over the weekend, an official visit. He's from St. Charles East, which is in Illinois. Currently ranked as the number 2 overall prospect in the state of Illinois, which that's pretty big. He offers from Cincinnati, Duke, Illinois, Kansas, Iowa State, Syracuse, West Virginia, Virginia Tech, Northern Illinois, among others. He had good feelings when he left. Says, I think that when I was going to Indiana, my expectations was that I was going to learn more about the campus and the facilities, which I did, Barrett said. But Coach Allen did a very good job of displaying his philosophy and culture of the program, and I was blown away. It was great. They want me, like Coach Allen and Coach Hiller want to rock and roll with me, and I don't get that from a lot of big-time schools like that. Well, it sounds like he was very impressed. So Indiana could certainly use the help on the offensive line. Also, Jordan Geronimo working on the perimeter. You can find that story at thehoosier.com. But third-year forward Jordan Geronimo emerged last season as a player who is going to have a much bigger impact this year, and that needs to happen with him being more offensively in tuned. Even though you have Trace Jackson Davis back, everybody has to rise. Everybody has to get better for the team to get better. It cannot be just because you got Trace Jackson Davis back and you got Race Thompson back and you got Xavier back. Guess what? They were on this team last year. Not only they have to get better, but not do only they have to get better, but everybody has to get better. Your incoming players have to help, which I think they will. I think they'll help in a multitude of ways. First of all, I think Jalen Hood-Schifino is going to start, but I think these freshmen are going to come in and challenge these guys. I think they're going to push people for minutes. Jalen Hood-Schifino, like I said, starting, I think there's minutes taken away from someone. And I think it's going to be a challenge from every one of those guys. I think that Malik Rayneau is going to push. I think that Caleb Banks is going to push, because that's a position that needs production from Indiana where he's playing. I think CJ Gunn's going to push, because Indiana needs a shooter. And if he can knock down some shots, hey, he can find some minutes on the floor. So there's that. Let's see. What did I say? Ross said something's exhausting on the Andy Moore hotline. I don't know what's. Oh, he must be talking about retirement. Forrest says he's retired. He wishes he hadn't. I'll take your place, Forrest. Yeah, Jennifer says, bless your poor pea-picking heart, Ross. Down there just making a campfire every day, listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. It's a rough life you got there. Tim pointing out that Kanan Catchings to visit Indiana this week from the 2024 class. He's one of the guys that you hear us talking about quite often, as a matter of fact. Let's see, get this. I want to get this. Let's see, offers list pulled up for Indiana for the class of 2023 right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 offers out in the class of 2023. Now, that includes people like Draven Gibbs Lawhorn, who's committed to Purdue. You've got Austin Parks to Ohio State. Or there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those are committed elsewhere. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of them are undecided. With a commitment to Indiana, from Gabe Cupps, and of course from Ja'Kai Newton next season. So got 11 undecideds. I don't know exactly how many scholarships are going to be open next year. 3 for certain. Are there any seniors? I'll have to look. But with potentially only 3 spots opening next year, and 2 of them already taken, I wonder if there'll be 4. How many available scholarships will there be next year? 3 or 4. It's hard to tell because in this day and age, you never know. After this next season, I don't see Logan Duncan playing next season. I'll be honest with you. Unless, again, I'm not in practice. I'm not in a call. I'm not seeing what's going on there. But unless he is really coming out, but of course, if they see that he's projecting to where next season he's going to be where they need him, then he'll be fine. And if that's what they're telling him, hey, you're on course. As long as he's on course to be that guy to step in that following season, then fine. But if not, there's a spot there. But we got to is it break time? Yep, time to take a break. Let's see. Coming up next, Lance Stemler going to join us. Looking forward to it. Talking to Lance. Coaching down at Providence High School now. Brought to you by our good friends at Feast Market and Cellar, part of the WOW Club. Don't forget, make sure you sign up. Go to your Apple App Store or Google Play Store. Sign up for the WOW Club. Do it for us. And hit that subscribe and like button if you're watching on YouTube. We really appreciate you, and it helps us tremendously. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting,
You should have received the link in your email.
I've been talking with him. He has it. He's coming.
Oh,
Can you hear us, Lance?
hello, Lance. Lance Russell. Nope. He can't hear us yet. Can we edit his Michael's? Nope.
What did you just say?
Nothing. Lance, if you can hear us, you may want to sign out and sign back in.
Yeah, that could be an issue. Excuse me.
I'm not sure if he can hear us, though.
Oh, here we go. Oh,
There he was. We had you and we lost you.
well, at least visually. He says he can't hear anything. I'm just going to text him to
Sign out and sign back in.
yeah.
There you go. That's right. Yeah, that's right. There you go. 4. Forgot about Cop. Yeah, I think there's 2. I think Chris is right. There'll be 4.
Let's see. We got 45 second tiers. Lance, can you hear us now? All right, he can't hear us. I wonder what it is, because usually if he I'm going to give him a call. We're ready to come back from break. I'm going to have to call him.
May have to take his headphones out for some reason. I don't know.
I think he may have to adjust his StreamYard settings too, potentially, but we'll see. I'll give him a call.
All right, just give him a hand.
All right.
CRVs, HRVs, and pilots. See dealer for financing deals. Andy Moore Honda, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com. Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by BB's Market in Bloomington. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back on this Tuesday, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends from Andy Moore Honda and BB's Market. If you're in the market for a vehicle, you know where to go. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com. And BB's Market, part of the Wow Club. They're your local meat shop, steakhouse, and caterer, no matter where you live. Visit bbsmarket.com. Think we got Lance Stemler with us. Lance, are you there now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
You bet, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great. We don't have a picture of you, but I remember what you look like. So
yeah, I'm on my mobile, so the camera in the car don't want to lose reception.
That's all right. Hey, how have you been, man?
I've been good. It's been I guess it's been a while, hasn't it?
I was like, man, it's been a long time. I can't believe it's been that long since we've had Lance on, but yeah, you've done a lot. I think you had just started with Providence the last time you were on, maybe.
I believe so. Yeah, it was Ryan and I. It was 3 years ago, maybe.
Is it that long? Oh my gosh! I was thinking it was two. Oh wow! Well, in the meantime, you guys win. First of all, the first state championship for Providence, who in basketball, which that's a huge deal. I grew up down that area, and I know how big that was to them. That's amazing for them to win a state title in anything, a school like that size, and especially in basketball. Crazy, yeah. But the staff, the great coaching staff, and you guys turned it around and did it. Boom.
Yeah, it was a whirlwind. Things just kind of came together. We've got a special group of seniors and underclassmen that bought in, and I mean, our senior class, they won a state championship in baseball last year. We have a couple of soccer players that had been to the state tournament or state championship game this past year and won one 2 years ago, I think it's been in soccer. So there's a winning environment there, and to be able to mesh and mold a group of players that, I mean, 4 seniors that none of them are going on to play college basketball, but they're going to be one heck of a intramural team at IU next year, probably.
Well, and you know, there's a couple of small Catholic in Kentucky. The Catholic schools are the dominant schools. You got St. X and Trinity and Louisville that just dominate. But in Indiana, that's not the case. But you have schools like Providence or Brebeuf who are more than competitive in their classes. But it's also like Providence is down there right in the middle of Floyd Central, New Albany, and Jeffersonville. Those schools, and so if that's where they would be playing if they weren't going to Providence. So you'd probably be making those teams better. But yeah, it's a great little area, and Providence has been a good school for a long time, going back to when I was in school. But congratulations, it has to be fun. When do you get your ring?
I don't know. I guess I got them ordered, so we'll see. Probably beginning of next year. But yeah, they're taking care of that. This area, to just echo your point, I think it's underrated as far as the basketball talent goes. I think as seen as in parts of the state, but with Indiana, the way, I mean, there's formidable public school systems here, so it's like, but we compete with it. We compete with the big boys. So when we comes sectional time, we're battle tested, whereas some of the other 2A places in the state don't see the schedule we see in this area. So we always feel like we're prepared.
Absolutely. I mean, when I talk about the schools, Floyd Central, New Albany, and Jeffersonville, 2 of those have won state championships. Floyd Central's been to 2 Final Fours. And they've had a great run here of late with Todd Sturgeon, who just retired. And I was hoping that my man Lance was going to take the job at my alma mater, but you opted to stay where you are and keep going with that run.
Yeah, it was something that I really we had some discussions, and they have a great program there and great leadership in Jeff Sequeira, and saw myself fitting there, and it's something it just wasn't probably the right time in my life to take over a program as far as my kids ages and that type of thing. So but I wish them all the luck, and we'll play against them next year with Coach Walters.
Yeah, I don't. They're a new coach. I don't know much about him. I know he came from North Harrison. That's a big job, and so to get that job for him, congratulations to him. But I have no familiarity with him whatsoever.
Yeah, I think people will be pleased. He's a good guy. He was on North Harrison staff. He was with Todd and Ryan on Floyd's staff for I don't know how many years, 3-4 years or so. So I know him through Ryan Miller. So I've heard good things. So they should be in good hands.
Indiana basketball, man. I know you busy with your own program and working on that and the kids and family and summer, but certainly Indiana making noise on the recruiting trail, making noise this past season by making the tournament. And with TJD coming back, lots of positive stuff happening for the program.
A lot of positive stuff. It's an exciting time to be an IU fan, obviously, and to be able to watch them and kind of how Coach Woodson's building it. It was nice to see Jordy come back and kind of make his place in there. And I mean, they should be older, mature, have some good leadership, and kind of bring on the young guys. And it should be a really fun year to watch them.
Have you had, I know you didn't play for Coach Woodson and there wasn't much crossover, but have you been able to talk to him at all? You guys been able to communicate?
Very little. I mean, I talked to him at the reunion last year. I talked to Dane a few times this past year. Obviously he's not there anymore, but I try to stay close enough and just kind of keep the relationship with the program. And Coach Woodson's done a good job, obviously with Timmy G there still. He's like the link between everybody that's ever played there. So
he is the only link. If you want to be truthful now, he is the only link between all the guys that played for every coach ever at Indiana, from Bob Knight forward. He's been there for 40 something years, and he's still there. But every player to a man almost. What is it about Tim Garl? He is the guy.
He's the guy. He's the man. I could never say enough good things about Tim. He's like the I'll call him a grandpa now because he's old, but it doesn't look like he ages though. So he looks the same as when I played. But right. As much time as obviously you spend in practice, you spend even more time in the training room. And Tim's got that personal experience, or that he's just a great guy, and you get to know him, get to spend a lot of time, which in my 2 years there, I probably spent more time in his training room than anywhere else in Bloomington. But you just get to know him, and he builds that relationship.
And you know, he's quote unquote the trainer, which means wrapping ankles and this, that, but so much more. Why is it? I mean, it seems like the training aspect is 50% or less of what he seems to do.
Right. Trainer, shrink, whatever, making reservations for restaurant, like whatever. I'm pretty sure Tim's probably done about everything within the back room or the behind the scenes for the program at some point in his career.
What would Indiana basketball be like without Tim Carl?
That's a good question. It's hard to say.
What's up next for you, man? What are you doing? What's coming up? How are you finishing off the summer? Have you guys going to any team camps? Have you all thought about or coming up to an IU team camp?
Yeah, we've been to a couple USI, Wright State's team camp. We're going up to Charlie Hughes tournament up in Indy this upcoming weekend. Just trying to get through June, trying to obviously improve, get to know what our team's going to look like in this upcoming year. June's a big time for that, kind of building that trust within the players and figure out what you've got coming up for the following year. So we'll get tested. We play at Carmel High School this upcoming weekend against some big boys schools. So it'll be a good test for us. We got some good young players that have a chance to develop and be good. So we'll see how that goes.
How big is an event like the Charlie Hughes? Because I'm assuming is that all Indiana teams?
To be honest with you, I'm not even 100% sure. I don't think so. I think there's some Ohio, I think some other teams come in for that.
They probably do. Probably like Gabe Cupp's team, Centerville, Ohio, and that stuff like that. You're probably right. Probably some teams from Kentucky as well. Maybe.
Yeah, a few closer to the border, I think, come up for it. It's a big time event, and gives us a chance to see some of the bigger schools up in the Indy and the north part of the state. Which, again, we always like to play against 3-4A teams and get to see how good, pretty much test ourselves.
You know, I've just here recently, I just noticed, now I've talked to you, which I've known you for a while, and we've had you, been a great friend of the show several times, but Sharon Wilkerson, who's been on before, but was on recently, as well as Matt Roth. All three of you guys at good programs, and Sharon right there by you at Jeffersonville.
Yep. Sharon's back down here. So Sharon's a great guy. He should do some really good things with Jeffersonville. Unfortunately, we have to play them. Not in sectional, but we beat them the last 2 years.
Really?
Yeah. This past year was the first time we beat New Albany and Jeff in the same season in a long time.
People don't understand that. When I was in high school, there were 3 classes, but Providence was also a lot closer to Floyd, Jeff, and New Albany then. It wasn't that far away. And then for whatever reason, the gap started to happen. And it did. But for Providence to beat New Albany or Jeffersonville, but to beat them both, that's gigantic. New Albany's a team that with Romeo Langford going to the Final Four, and winning, and that's huge. That's just a big win. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, with Sharon, he'll do good things there, and we'll definitely have our hands full with him going forward. But and then Matt up at Blackhawk Christian, obviously another 2A. So if we run it, I think they got beat by, I forget who beat them this past year. Otherwise, we would have ran into him or Blackhawk Christian in regionals, semi-state. So that's a really good program, and he'll do good things up there too.
Well, do you think? I mean, you don't know, but do you think that they, as well as Jeffersonville, would be playing in the shootout, Charlie Hughes?
I haven't seen the full list of teams. I don't know if Jeff's going up there or not. That's a good question.
We'll certainly find out. Looking forward to it. Is this your all's first outing as a team this summer?
No, we've played New Albany hosts, or there's a pretty decent summer league down here that we play in. We've played in the whole month of June against some really good competition from Kentucky, as well as New Albany and Jeff, and we all play in a Floyd summer league. So we've seen some competition, and we went to USI, and we won their team camp, beat a couple nice 3-4A schools from Evansville area, and then Wright State. We got our hands full of some pretty good Ohio competition. So we've been testing ourselves, been learning of what we've got, and just trying to build.
Well, man, I wish you guys, of course, the best of luck on your upcoming season. What are chances of a repeat, baby?
A lot of things got to come together for a run like that. It was pretty special, but you never know. I would never write it off, but at the same time, it's something you work towards, but pieces just got to come together.
Always do. A little bit of aside, totally off subject here. I just got some news in. But Caleb Swanigan apparently passes away at age 25.
What?
Former Purdue Boilermaker Caleb Swanigan apparently passes away at the age of 25. That is just crazy. Apparently of natural causes, but wow,
it's just scary.
It just brings everything into perspective, man.
Yes, it does.
We gotta enjoy today. Enjoy the people you're with.
Never take anything for granted.
How's speaking of your family? How are they doing?
They're doing good. They're doing keep me on my toes. I've got a fourth grader and a first grader, going to be first grader. So they're chasing them around between that and work and basketball. So they generally spend some time, most season in the gym with me. So they're gym rats, and we'll see what happens.
That's good. How's the golf game? Lance is a wicked golfer, people. Don't let him tell you otherwise.
Well, at one point maybe, but I think I played twice this year. So maybe when they get a little older, can actually go with me. I might get some of my handicap back, but it's fun. I can still hit the ball. I just hard time scoring when you don't play a lot.
Trust me, I play a lot and I still can't score. Doesn't matter. Well, buddy, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking some time with us and catching up with you. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you sometime soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jim.
You bet, buddy.
Thanks for having me. Yep.
Lance Stemler joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat on this Tuesday, brought to you by our good friends at BB's Market, your butcher, whatever you need. Visit bbsmarket.com. They're your local meat shop, steakhouse, and caterer, no matter where you live. We've got more Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming up. We'll be back with it right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Caleb Swanigan, wow.
I know, it's always, I feel like that kind of stuff happens every year. You just never know who it's going to be. Is he still playing in the NBA? Hasn't played since 2019. Gotcha. Tebow, what are you talking about? I've got a regatta, bring lots of beer. July 1st. I don't know if I'll be there, Tebow. $45, Jim.
.com is where you can find complete coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and plenty more. Simply go to thehoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also find full episodes of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by K-Bello. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you here on this sunshiny Tuesday. Brought to you by our good friends at Andy Moore. Get more to your door with Andy Moore Honda. AndyMoore.com. Andy Moore Honda in Bloomington. If you're looking for a great deal on a Honda, you know where to go. Also, K-Bello Restaurant, located in the heart of downtown Bloomington, right on the square. Visit K-Bello to experience the taste and traditions of Italian heritage right here in Southern Indiana. Right on the square, man. K-Bello, that's some good stuff. Yeah, just before we left in the break, just found out Caleb Swanigan passing away. Wow. 25 years old. Apparently natural causes. Just sad. I don't think he had played for a couple of years. But just a sad thing to see, man. It wasn't that long ago. We were watching him play in college. Hate to hear that. Just crazy stuff, man. Life is just weird. Someone drowned out here at Lake Monroe within the week. I think the wife was struggling or whatever, and the guy jumped in and then he didn't help. So, but yeah, Caleb Swanigan at 25 years old. As a matter of fact, I'll never forget the play in Simon Scott Assembly Hall with Thomas Bryant, that Indiana Purdue game coming down to the end, and those gutless referees call a block charge. No such thing in the history of college basketball or basketball can you have a block charge. It's one or the other. It just is. And but I went to Homestead High School as well as Purdue. Played in the NBA just a little bit, but the coroner confirmed he has died of natural causes. Drafted by the Portland Trail Blazers in 2017, but has not played in the NBA since 2019. He was Mr. Basketball in Indiana. He led Homestead to its first and only state title in 2015. Played at Purdue before going to the NBA. He was a homeless as a child before being adopted, eventually got a diploma in educational history from Purdue. He also helped organize a fundraiser for homelessness and release music in 2019. So sad story for Caleb Swanigan. So our thoughts and prayers with the folks at Purdue and his family as well. A little shocker for the day. Tomorrow, Wednesday, on the program, Bob Kravitz from The Athletic. Always looking forward to that. And with the NHL going on, what is going on with these NHL finals? I'm not a gigantic hockey guy, but this finals has been wacky. What in the hell was the score last night or last game? Like 7-0? I mean, what is going on that they're scoring all these goals? I know Colorado won the second game like 7-0. There were 7 total goals scored in the first game that the Colorado won 4-3 in OT. They blow out Tampa Bay in game 2, 7-0 to take a 2-0 lead. But then the Tampa Lightning come back in game 3 to win 6-2, 8 goals or whatever you want to call it. 15, 22 have been scored in the first 3 games. That's 7 per game. That's an match, whatever you want to call it. That's crazy. That's a little high. And I would think it would be, especially for a finals, you would think it would be a little high. But the Avalanche trying to knock off the 2-time defending champion Tampa Bay Lightning. They have 2-1 lead in that series. Game 4 is set for tomorrow night, 8 o'clock in Tampa, before they go back to Colorado for game 5. And they'll have to come back to Tampa for game 6. And game 7, if there is one, they have to go back to Colorado. So Tampa better, oh man, Tampa they'd have to win out, don't they? They'd have to win out, looks like. Right? So tomorrow night, no, they don't have to win out. They could go to game 6, get it done. Anyone following NHL? Thank you, Forrest. Lance is a great guy. He's a great friend of the show. He always has been. Appreciate him. And congratulations to them down there at Providence High School, down there in Southern Indiana. Providence is in Clarksville, down there in Southern Indiana. Little small school. Ross said the game changed early last night when the Avalanche had a goal overturned early. Changed the momentum. Man, that's a lot of momentum change. It does sound like pretty poor goaltending to me. I know these are the 2 best teams in the NHL, but these should also be 2 of the better goaltenders. No, it's 2-1. Oh, wait a minute. Now you're talking about something else, the Rangers. Now I'm lost. Charles Barkley was on the Stanley Cup broadcast. Ross says he was really good. Well, he's really good on everything. I love listening to Charles Barkley. You can put him on any broadcast and I would listen to him. I don't care what. You can put him on golf. Put him on anything. He's just going to be funny and great because he is down to earth, honest, and funny. That's as about as good a combination as you can ask for. Oh, I started talking about tomorrow's show. Bob Kravitz, of course, joining us from The Athletic. Kyle Neddenrip from the Indy Star and Hall of Fame writer Rick Bozich from WDRB.com. Oh, that's always a great lineup. We'll be able to wrap up the baseball state championships with Kyle. Also preview the Charlie Hughes that's coming up this weekend, so you get a better grip on who all is going to be up there. Wonder if Xavier Booker and Cathedral will be there. Interesting to see which teams. The Mike Woodson basketball camp wraps up this week in 2 days, his second one. And then, of course, on Thursday, here at the golf club at Eagle Point Studios. No, not the golf club, not at the studios. Here at the golf club at Eagle Point, rather. The annual Never Lose Hoop golf outing, Jordan Hulls Never Lose Hoop golf outing is going to be taking place. Shotgun start at noon, but get started at 11 with all the early stuff, this, that, and the other thing. We'll be doing the show live from up there. Looking forward to everybody that's going to be playing, everyone that's going to be there afterwards, everyone that's going to be speaking. It's just going to be a tremendous day of fun and looking so much forward to it. I don't think the weather's going to be bad at all. It's going to be a little warm, but the humidity is not supposed to be up there. So it ought to be great. Looking forward to it. And it's what a great cause. And while I'm thinking about it, I thank Mike Ross at Endeavor Hospitality and the WOW Club for their support on Never Lose Hoop. Also with Old National Bank. They are stepping up as well. And Cook Medical. All three corporate sponsors for this event. So thanks to all of those entities. We thank you guys, and we'll look forward to talking to some of those people. Let's see. Hoosiers for Good sponsoring a team. So we appreciate them as well. But so many people, it would take me forever to thank everybody. But I will. Eventually, I'm going to get the whole list, and I will eventually get every single one of them. What's coming up next for you today? What do you got going on? Things are slowing down. We've had so much to look forward to. We just had the U.S. Open. We've had the Derby, and the Triple Crown has already come and gone. The Indy 500 has come and gone. The Kentucky Derby has come and gone. The Stanley Cup Final is about to wrap up. The NBA Finals are done. You've got the draft on Thursday. And then that'll leave baseball. And just waiting for football, right? Chilling, having a good summer. Yes, Charles is dang sure entertaining. And Tebow says that Anthony Leal has said he's playing a lot of point guard in practice. Well, they're going to need a backup point guard. So yeah, I haven't watched any of the NHL. I'll be honest with you, but I did see our friend Zach Osterman post. Was it in Colorado where they sing the song while they're playing the game? The entire stadium was singing. That was crazy. But fun to see that. College World Series continues today. That's right. Games going on today. Don't forget Notre Dame in an elimination game for them. I'm sure that's maybe the same for A&M. I don't know what their record is, but yeah, I think that's an elimination game today. Both teams, Notre Dame and Texas A&M, and then Auburn, Arkansas tonight at 7. Notre Dame, Texas A&M, 2:00. Eastern time. So as soon as you finish listening to this on the ref, you can start watching that baseball game. John Boy, have you watched any of the College World Series?
I have not. I used to really get into the College World Series, but over the past couple of years, I've kind of shunned it, unfortunately.
Shunned it? What are you Amish?
Well, and I say unintentionally shunning it.
What are you shunning?
I guess that's probably the wrong wording for it, but I haven't watched it in a few years.
Shunning. I love shunning. I have shunned it.
I probably haven't watched it since...
I shun thee. I am shunning thee.
Since Michigan was in the finals.
I shun thee. It's always just fun. I enjoy it. It's just fun to watch. Looking forward to tomorrow. Looking forward to watching these games today on the College World Series, to be honest with you, because it's going to be a little too warm to do much else. But I can't thank you guys enough because you great audience today as always. You guys are incredible. Thanks to everybody for hitting us up on the Andy Moore Honda hotline with your comments. Keep them coming. You can keep commenting no matter when you're able to listen to this, because I know most people listen to it when we're not live, which is fine. Send your comment. I try to respond to everybody I can, especially if you have a question or whatnot. But thank you so much. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button for us. We really appreciate it. Give me a follow on Twitter if you don't mind, at Jim Coyle ISB. We're back tomorrow to do this all again. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. Thanks to John, the producer. Thanks to you. Without you, we've got nothing to do. Big thanks to Lance Stemler and Mike DeCourcy. Until tomorrow, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports